Sandflies and mosquitoes blanketed Maeve's face and neck. She did not bother to brush them away. She'd been in Angren long enough to know more would come in their place.
Your Majesty,
Reynard called from behind.
our scouts have returned. We've a large force of blackclads on our tail, infantry and horsemen, and they draw nearer.
Blast!
Maeve wiped away the sweaty hair stuck to her brow.
What say you, Reynard? Shall we give them a fight?
We're but a few miles from the river, where a barge awaits. It makes no sense to battle now.
Though near her strength's end, Maeve stepped up her pace. She could not wait to stand upon a barge deck and leave Angren's infernal bogs behind. Alas, in place of the promised vessel, they found only severed moorings.
No! No, it can't be!
Suddenly, Maeve drove her fist into the trunk of the nearest tree. Fortunately, a soft and rotted one.
This isn't so!
Your Grace, have mercy. I stepped away but for a spell,
Croaked a scout, pale as a ghost.
and thieves jumped out the underbrush. Fell upon it. Whole band of them. A white-hair warrior, a minstrel, and a lass what had a bow.
Well, is that all?
Interrupted Gascon.
No vampire sat upon an ass with no saddle? You cocked up, man, damn it. Maeve, what now?
The Queen turned back towards the swamp. Between the trees, she glimpsed a golden sun glimmering upon a banner.
We shall discuss that later,
Said the Queen, drawing her sword.
provided we survive. Everyone, rally to me! Drive them back!
Go it. This could hurt. Your life is mine now. To the last!
There, gloire!
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Wise choice.
To thee, gloire!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Order! Tomorrow I'll drink with our forefathers! Yeah!
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
Your life is mine now.
Have her done in a jiffy.
Very gloire!
Hail, Kerzer!
Yes. Excellent, Seifel!
My boots got sand aplenty.
Hail Katza!
Yes. Excellent, Seifel!
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear. Brach! Scheiß! In! Tray!
Your Grace, that was but their vanguard.
Near the battle's end, Meve faced a black-clad officer. Nimbly dodging his strike, she countered. The Queen's sword sank deep, the hilt rattling his breastplate. A rush of hot blood covered Meve's hands. The winged helmet toppled from the officer's head, exposing a sweaty face, gasping for breath.
Min! When?
Before the Queen stood a ruddy-haired boy with long eyelashes. He was Willem's age, perhaps a bit older. His body slumped, then disappeared beneath the malodorous foam atop the murky waters. Meve cast away her sword as if it had burned her hand.
Majesty, what is it? Are you hurt?
Reynard said, rushing to her side.
No, I'm not. It's fine. Give the order to march. With no barge, we must walk to Red Lobington along the riverbank.
Your Majesty, we must tend to the wounded. Use the rest of the day, I wager.
We ain't time enough for that.
Interjected Gascon.
That was but the vanguard sent in pursuit to slow us down. And even so, they outnumbered us 2 to 1. What happens when the main force arrives? We must flee. Now.
And abandon the injured, to bleed to death in the mud.
Alas, Reynard, yes. Unless you'd rather we stayed and died with them.
Gascon is right. Should Nilfgaard close the distance between us, we'll stand little chance.
Phew. At least you've the sense to...
But I would sooner perish than let my men rot in this accursed swamp. The medics will tend to all the wounded. Then, what will be, will be.
I tell you what'll be.
Snarled Gascon.
Ep die, he'll take a butcher's hook and gut you. Then hang you from Lyria capital's walls. Yet, if this be your wish...
Meve waited for the medics to sew the last stitch, tie off the last bandage. Only then did she order her force to move out. At the column's end, upon stretchers, lay those without the strength to walk, consumed by fever, dazed or unconscious, dying. Fatigued and laden with the wounded, the Lyrians moved slow as molasses. Soon, Nilfgaard's forward elements had caught up. The Blackclads nipped at the Lyrians' tail with arrow volleys from the cover of trees and occasional forays by cavalry. They were in no hurry. They could torment their foes, weaken their spirit before the final clash. At long last, Meve spotted a dark form spanning the river's course, Red Lobendon's bridge. Just a brief stretch more, and the Lyrians would find themselves beyond the invaders' grasp, free and clear of bogs, and the beasts that prowled them. Yet joy at this sight soon gave way to despair. The bridge was dark, black, from the horde of Nilfgaardians that held it. Clearly the Blackclads had divined the path of Meve's flight, and had cut off her last means of escape.
That's it. We're dead men. All. They'll cut us down to the last.
Meve shut her eyes, felt them sting with fatigue. She knew when she turned she could not show her men 1 ounce of fear, 1 pinch of doubt. She gripped her reins tightly. The leather dug into her skin, helping her hold back her tears. And when the Queen finally spoke, her voice was strong and boomed over the river's roar.
I know what you wish to hear.
The Queen began.
That the gods watch over us. That we'll come through the fray unharmed. That a friendly force is but moments away. Those would be lies. The truth is as bitter as it is undeniable. We stand cornered. Cannot win this fight. Cannot flee it. We can but choose how to die. Hanged from the boughs like common criminals. Or weapons in hand, like the fighters we are. I've made my choice. Time you made yours!
With that cry, Meve broke for the bridge toward a forest of spears into a deluge of arrows. She let the tears fall from her eyes. Tears of rage, fear, fatigue. It was not until she'd almost reached the enemy line that she dared glance backward. And she saw she was not alone.
Defend the Queen! Valyria!
Hey?
Waiting for a personal invitation?
My disgrace ends here! Time I wiped it away!
We may die here today, but not on our hands and knees!
I warned you.
Should have listened to me old lady.
Inarin Yalde Crowfair.
No time for that! For Mahagam!
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! We're friends, not foe!
Damn it, just gets better and better.
To the bridge! Cut the way back to the bridge! Bolster the defense!
Barbarians.
Ludicrous! Give me some of that. Waiting for a personal invitation?
Of course, as you wish, master.
Mahjong. Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
in! Try! Don't need no weapon!
Not supposed to be any smoke.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Egreto dum anime est, spes est.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Your Majesty, no!
I've lost my tooth. Fun of a whore.
Come here! Let's dance!
Tell me you jest.
Order!
My boots got sand aplenty in them.
Your life is mine now.
My prescription, A bit of bloodletting.
Make love, not war.
Off to the front yet again.
Hail Katza! Eddard Fane!
Quiet! Or the Commissar will hear.
Fall back! Below it!
Meve was victorious on the banks of the Yaruga, but paid dearly for it. She lost a host of men and suffered harm herself. Yet she'd have been doomed, if not for a certain white-haired witcher. Meve longed to meet her mysterious savior and set off in search of him as soon as the battle dust had settled. She found him with the field surgeon and learned he was none other than the witcher Geralt. Yes, incredible as it may seem, I've heard the tale from several and can vouch for its truth. At any rate, making naught of the fact that Geralt's ears were ringing from a blow with a mace, Meve began immediately to interrogate him.
You for Faith Woodbridge?
Asked Meve, prodding him insistently. For a spell, Geralt worried his hearing was shot, but then realized the Queen had a lisp.
Worked out that way, I guess.
You guess?
Meve gagged on the blood in her mouth.
Someone hold me!
The Queen felt Geralt merited the highest honor, a knighthood. Another monarch might have delayed until a more opportune time, but not Meve. Meve delayed nothing.
Count Odo, you, sir, do the honors. Alas, I cannot because of my tooth.
For valor shown in battle, I, Meve, by the gods' grace, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, hereby do knight thee.
Geralt of place unknown. The bridge you felled with men from Rivia. Or so you guess. I guess it falls to me to dub thee Geralt of Rivia.
Meve had come home, though by a circuitous route, through Edern's smoking embers, Angren's beast-infested quagmires, cross Mahakam's snow-capped ridges. But she had returned, cloaked in legend, a mighty army in tow. The moment was weighty, and not to be tainted even by Geralt of Rivia's disappearance, or dare we say desertion. The hero of the battle for the bridge was now a sought man. Yet Meve was determined to take back her realm, with or without the Witcher's aid. The Lyrians' daring escapade behind enemy lines, and the triumphant victory at the battle for the bridge that crowned it, breathed new life into the North's war effort. Bands of resistance fighters now swarmed the conquered lands, while Cedwyn and Redania, on the verge of swearing fealty to the Emperor, suddenly broke off talks with the invader. The Nilfgaardian war machine suddenly screeched to a halt, and the tide of war turned. Facing a united North, the invader had to withdraw the bulk of its forces from Lyria and Rivia. The way was cleared for Meve to retake her lost lands, defeat General Epdahi, and depose Willem. Or perhaps mother and son would not have to fight after all.
Milady, I come at King Willem's bidding.
Prince Willems.
His Majesty proposes a meeting. No arms, no escorts.
His Majesty? Whelp's barely tall enough to reach his mother's bosom. For shame!
Silence. Let him say his piece.
His Majesty, Willem I, wishes to discuss the possibility of a truce.
He wishes to surrender? Is that his aim?
Your words, not mine, Your Grace.
I've a few more on the tip of my tongue. But save them I shall for later.
Willem I's chosen the site for the parley.
Willem I will choose nought. If he wishes to speak, let him meet me midst the ruins of Devil's Tower.
Understood, Your Grace. I'll relay your terms.
Willem's emissary rode off, serenaded by hisses and jeers. Frightened by the clamour, his horse reared and kicked. The rider forced his mount to obey with cracks of his crop, striking many more times than was necessary.
The fool. Nag'll toss him off first chance it gets. Soon as he loosens the reins.
No great loss, I wager. But tell me, your thoughts on this reunion?
Sounds a ruse to me. But I know that won't stop you.
Whence this certainty?
Come now, Maeve. At the end of it all, he's your son. You still care about him, it's obvious.
You're absolutely right.
Perhaps let bygones be bygones. Perhaps it's not too late.
Only one way to know. Let's go.
Maeve rode out clad in golden plate, her banners waving proudly overhead. She no longer led a band of ragtag partisans, but an army able to fend off an empire and drive its soldiers from her lands.
Ma'am, I've something you must see without undue delay.
You need my help with anything? Anything at all, I've ideas aplenty.
Long you've travelled, Barnabas. The wonders you must have seen. Likely visited many exotic lands before you reached Mahakam.
Corvia, yes. Matina, yes. Nazir, Zeracania, gods, yes. And Korath, even. I mean, such beauty there, though hot. Oh, dreadfully so. Horrible place to grow turnips, if you've ever a mind to try. Novigrad, lived there a spell as well, but I didn't much care for it.
Why ever not?
The hierarch, intractable man, banned one of my inventions, condemned it as unholy, vile, etc., etc. Decided he would burn both of us at the stake. As you can imagine, we had a difference of opinion in that regard.
Perhaps I shall regret this, but do tell. What was the thing you created exactly?
I knew you'd be interested. You've a curious mind, dear Queen. We're two peas of a feather. Quite the clever contraption it was. Made for a widow, wealthy, but aching with longing. In her husband's absence, tormented by unfulfilled needs.
Stop right there. I knew I'd regret asking.
See, it had this special crank that when rotated...
Barnabas, no, enough.
As you command, Your Majesty. But if you ever get the urge to see it, I've the prototype still tucked away in my trunk.
Noted. But by the gods, please, let's change the subject. Time I attended to...
Ah, yes, you're still here.